killing you and what you represent is a statement. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it's saying.
Pop culture is a living entity that has turned onto itself. End times culture used by forces to control and exploit. The media, the law, and all of society's institutions using culture as a machine to reign over everything. Natural-born killers stood at the horizon of pre- and post-internet, a time in 1994 where the impact of mass media was well established, but the internet was coming. A time when mass shooters were taking over for serial killers, which the film prophetically predicts. A map of American culture that would soon evolve into global culture. A film that was over-the-top satire in '94 has become a projection of modern culture. Media with its own agenda, a corrupt law force, and institutions with no care except for their own growth. Mickey and Mallory are evil and antisocial, but they are creations of this society. Not only media, but culture is an all-consuming parasite, eating itself while creating sociopaths like Mickey, Mallory, Wayne Gale, and Jack Scagnetti. Natural-born killers stood at the crossroads of culture in '94 and predicted where culture was headed with the internet. The film pushed the aesthetic boundaries of cinema at the time. It was shocking for audiences, but now it's the identity of our times. Style and substance refashioned from a previous time. Past culture made new by the media. Brought back from the dead, but like a zombie, all the meaning in life has been drained from it. Mickey and Mallory are symptoms of a system that is dissolving into itself. A culture where capital and fame are the ruling avatars for the pillars of society. A culture that eats itself due to everything being a commodity, a world where everything and everyone is for sale. Natural Born Killers has been a polarizing film since its release. It was both praised and demonized by critics. One of the main controversies was around Oliver Stone's fundamental changes to Quentin Tarantino's script. The script, like the script to True Romance, was sold before Quinn's big breakout with Pulp Fiction. It's an interesting dilemma because there's no way Quinn would allow the film to be made without his blessing after Pulp Fiction. Now, film is a director's medium, so once the script was sold, it became an Oliver Stone film and not a Quentin Tarantino film. Similar to The Shining and the disagreements that happened between Stephen King and Stanley Kubrick during that filming. Now, what is really interesting is Quentin Tarantino's script through the eyes of Oliver Stone. Many of Quentin Tarantino's films, including this script, are set in an imaginary cinema world. These films look like our reality, but have elements that are representations from cinema and those imaginary worlds. Oliver Stone is the opposite. His films are set firmly in the real world, and at times he works as a satirist, as he does here. Now, this could make for a mess of a movie, and many would say that's the case here, but actually it provided the ingredients to make an interesting satire. Satire uses the exaggerations of real life to expose the vices or issues of a certain subject or theme. Here, Quentin Tarantino's hyper-real qualities really shine through Oliver Stone's real-life perspective and helps to create the right conditions for satire. Many of the criticisms against the film are centered on the unlikability of Mickey and Mallory, but that is the point. Satire is more focused on theme than building three-dimensional characters, and here Mickey and Mallory work better as symbols than they do as real-life characters. Similar to Clockwork Orange, none of these characters should be likable and work to further the theme above all. Satires from Fight Club to A Clockwork Orange are generally misunderstood by audiences and attacked for the same thing they are looking to expose. The same violence that the film is addressing flipped on itself and started to create the violence it was looking to expose. This is a danger of satires, especially ones dealing with violence. Now, if all that's said, you could say that the theme of the media creating and supporting killers is heavy-handed and done better by other films like Network. But Oliver Stone's not just satirizing the media, but all of culture, specifically American culture. All these elements make up for a fascinating film even with its many issues. An anomaly of a film that could only be created in that place and time and stood as a prophecy for where culture and society was headed. Oliver Stone foresaw end times culture and how it would encompass the whole of society. The film starts at a truck stop at the end of the world where all versions of pop culture intersect. 1950s conservative America, free-spirited 60s, and the cynical 70s. Culture morphing and evolving, directed by the past.
When them people come here and they ask you who done this, you tell them Mickey and Mallory Knox did it, all right?
Mickey and Mallory are representations of Americana, even down to their names, which resemble Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Both Mickey and Mallory are children of the culture that has raised them. Both of them were sexually abused as children, and Mallory's childhood is satirized as an American sitcom. It's a little on the nose, but it makes its point that the dark side of American families is hidden or repressed by the facade of American culture. The sitcom being the cornerstone of American entertainment until the internet. Rodney Dangerfield, who rewrote his lines to fit his delivery, adds another symbolic element. He was an icon of American comedy, and while his delivery is funny, what he's saying is not. It adds to the satirical style and makes what he is saying much worse. Mallory, like Mickey, were children raised from a system that was corrupt and unchallenged. Once free, Mickey and Mallory responded the only way they know how, which is through violence. This leads to two paths for Mickey and Mallory: either be used by the powers that be or be sacrificed. At the end, they are used by society, the media, and the culture, and are allowed back in, but now as a family. A family that will continue to spread the same kind of dysfunction and violence as their parents. It's now acceptable since they are respected members of society.
Repetition works, David.
It's going to wind up with
repetition works, Davey, okay? Do you think that those nitwits out there in Zombieland remember anything? It's junk food for the brains. It's, fill off full.
Wayne Gale stands as the shining beacon of the media, a tabloid-style host whose main objective is image and ratings above all. The media will act and speak morally, but they only care about what they can get out of a story. Here, everything is an image that can be sold. The media and Wayne represent the face of culture.
Mallory Knox. Meet Jack Scagnetti.
Jack Scagnetti represents the body of culture, the violent arm of society. While he should represent justice and protection, he actually represents the chaos and violence that is inherent in the system. He uses this violence to control and exploit himself. Not above killing, he has the same violent and sexual impulses as Mickey and Mallory, but his violence is sanctioned by the institutions.
Mickey and Mallory Knox are without doubt the most twisted, depraved pair of shit fucks it has ever been my displeasure to lay my goddamn eyes on. I'm telling you, these two motherfuckers are a walking reminder of just how fucked up this system really is.
Don't get me started, okay, Warren? Don't get me started.
Dwight. You call me Dwight.
Warden represents the authority and head of culture. He protects the norms of society and issues out violence when needed for control, especially against revolution. He protects the rules of a system no matter how immoral, and doesn't care for anything except his own need for control and order. Three elements in play that constitute the pillars of society and culture, meant to keep everyone in line, especially Mickey and Mallory and the people they represent. Nature is the flip side of pop culture, the balance at the heart of society. The film spotlights nature throughout, from birds, snakes, coyotes, desert, and storms. The counterpoint to the decay of culture is nature. Mickey and Mallory respected nature early on, which is represented when Mickey rides a horse into a tornado when escaping prison. Mickey and Mallory were both allies of nature and respected it until the Native Americans' death. After the Native Americans' death, nature turns on them, which is represented in the pit of snakes. nature pushed aside for the power of culture. Nature represents the counterpoint to pop culture and its impacts. Mickey and Mallory end up lost in the desert and find a hut with a Native American man and his son. They realize that Mickey and Mallory are demons and sick. He tries to cleanse the culture disease off of them in a ritual. The ritual is an important aspect of previous cultures. The ritual brings out their repressions like abuse, which turns on the Native American and kills him. The death exiles them into the desert and the pit of snakes, nature turning on them due to their modern infection. It's this modern infection and the venom that sends them to Drug Zone. Drug Zone is a perfect representation of the corporation's control of basic living and healthcare. Drug Zone is also the first location that highlights the neon green. Neon green here represents the underbelly of pop culture, the decay of a culture that only values image and noise. Mickey is looking for the antidote for the snake venom, but really is looking for a cure for the corroded culture that has seeped under their skin. Drug Zone ends the first act with a confrontation with Jack, the trap set in a fitting strip mall surrounded by police and media. The Japanese media is strangely outside an American Southwest mall, the global culture infatuated with American society, a precursor for the internet. A perfect ending for the freedom of Mickey and Mallory and their connection to nature, swallowed up by the monolith of American culture.
Thank you, Grace. I just have one final question.
What?
Do you believe in fate?
The film takes place in 2 acts, which is split by the Super Bowl prison interview. The day being the crown jewel at the heart of pop culture. A day when consumption and production merge together to create the ultimate spectacle. Mickey's interview was mainly influenced by Charles Manson's prison interview, a rambling thought burst that combines pseudo-psychology with crazed ramblings. The star murderer as a copy, the star of the Super Bowl as a game show sociopath leading everyone to the black hole of culture. The prison riot representing the anger and frustration of a public that feels trapped. The anarchy of revolt against law and order, the institutions, and society at large. Mickey and Mallory stand as signs of disposable members of society that has only one way out, which is through violence. The riot signaling the end times of a culture that has eaten its own tail. Neon green is the color that represents the rot of culture. Both scenes where Mickey and Mallory almost die are covered in neon green. Neon green symbolizes decay, artificiality, and technology. In both scenes, the green lays down the road to the future, a future where technology and culture is merged permanently, a consuming neon green world where image and commerce has taken over society. In the end, all of the major representations for media, law, and institutions fall in the deaths of Wayne, Jack, and the warden. This won't have a long-term effect because all 3 were just symbols of larger forces which will continue to grow and control. Even Mickey and Mallory's end symbolizes them becoming part of society. All sins forgiven, now fully integrated into society and culture as good citizens and consumers. Culture's violent own creations coming home.
So, this is exciting. How'd I do back there?
Not bad for a first-timer.
I never knew I had it in me, coming as I do from the fire and all.
The alternate ending does add an interesting layer, but it was right to be removed since the theme hits harder with them ending up as a family. But this ending is worth revisiting. The alternate ending continues the prison break with Owen, the prisoner that helped them find a way out. Owen has been a spirit that has followed them throughout the film, starting with the opening in the diner. Owen could be their guardian angel, but actually he is their judgment and fate that they can't escape. He is their ultimate karma that is waiting for the check to come due. While Mickey and Mallory are creations of an immoral and corrupt system, they have killed innocents, so eventually that will come back to them. Unlike Mickey and Mallory, who are symptoms of an uncaring society, Owen feels like real evil. Even his statement, "coming from the fire," seems sinister and hides a deeper evil at its core. Mickey and Mallory are Xeroxed evil, an evil that raised them on breakfast cereals and sitcoms. Owen is an older evil, an evil that doesn't need a philosophy or purpose. This ending is satisfying and closes the circle of violence, but the actual ending keeps it open-ended and focused on the theme. Society will demonize them in the media, but in the end, they are the children of the society and always welcome back. Demons in pop culture hell.
I guess, Wayne, you just gotta hold that old shotgun in your hand and it becomes clear like it did for me the first time. That's when I realized my one true calling in life.
And what's that, Mickey?
Shit, man. I'm a natural born killer.
And that's commercial. 2 minutes, guys.
Is Natural Born Killers a dangerous film? The real world at the time seeped into the shooting of the film, and the film influenced reality when it came out. Fantasy and reality merging together to provide the absolute truth. Oliver Stone and the main actors at the time were going through personal issues, and the drug use on the set is well documented. There's also interesting trivia around the film, like Woody Harrelson's father being a contract killer. The film also had a groundbreaking soundtrack by Trent Reznor that combined new material with past songs to create a musical collage that is unique to the film and supports the theme. This all created an atmosphere of disorder that fits the film. It is like our reality, signaling the film's reality and vice versa. The cultures mixing together and creating something new, a mirror that arises against the lies and shows culture as it truly is, which is what satire does best. The main reason the film is considered dangerous is due to the copycat murders. Majority of the murders occurred by children between the ages of 15 to 18, with multiple cases starting at the release to the 2000s. To be clear, I do not believe that art or entertainment can cause violence. The film and its violence is a symptom of a greater disease. Art and satire holds up a mirror to culture that is hiding and repressing its own evil. Society will attack the piece of art as being transgressive or actually causing the same violence that the piece of art is trying to shine light onto, pointing at the art instead of the society that created this culture that allows this behavior. The artist can be the most dangerous member of society since they can provide the audience with a new perspective that can bypass many of society's conditions. In the case of Natural Born Killers, the impact is twofold. It holds a mirror up to a society that is destroying itself from the inside out. Second, the film didn't cause teenagers to murder. It spoke to them on a deeper level. They saw their own reflections within Mickey and Mallory, their abuse, their frustrations, their disillusionment in a system that exploits them. Dangerous films aren't dangerous because of their transgressive or violent nature, but what they mean to the greater society at large, and what they represent and provide to the audience. Taxi Driver, A Clockwork Orange are films that were demonized like Natural Born Killers, but the reason wasn't the violence, but what they showed to the audience. They hold up a looking glass to the transgressive nature of a society, and that reflection comes back to the audience, and some do not like what they see. In this way, Natural Born Killers is a dangerous film. The most damning point against the film is the influence it had on mass shootings in the US. Before the 90s, there was obviously mass shootings from Charles Whitman that the film references to postal workers in the 80s, but Natural Born Killers specifically was called out by mass shooters as being an influence. This time is also when school shootings really started to ramp up, and the most infamous school shooting, Columbine, the killers directly referenced the film. Then you had Warner Brothers and Oliver Stone having to defend themselves in court against a shooting that happened to a friend of John Grisham, the author. All suits have been thrown out since the evidence against the film is not strong enough to show direct cause and effect. The film points out that Mickey and Mallory are mass shooters and not serial killers.
Profile on a different serial killer.
Technically mass murder.
Well, whatever you want. Anyway, the episode we did on Mickey and Mallory, it was one of our most popular ones.
You ever do one on John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah.
Who got the higher rating?
Awesome. Blew him away.
What about that crazy motherfucker Ted Bundy?
Oh, that crazy guy. No, you got the larger Nielsen share. You're big. You're huge.
Good.
Yeah. What I want to get to...
What about Manson?
Manson beat you.
Well, it's pretty hard to beat the king.
The film was at the flashpoint where culture changed its focus on serial killers to mass shooters, and you can definitely list this film as at least having an element in this movement. It's not the cause, but it was part of the zeitgeist at the time. The film captured a period of time as the internet was coming online, where the merging of culture and mass media was hitting its saturation point. A time when the youth was feeling disillusioned and turned to a film that they felt represented them and their anger. Reality that felt like fiction. Tanya Harding, OJ, real-life stories bleeding into fiction. Natural Born Killers is a Mobius strip of reality and illusion, a loop of culture and society where art provides the truth, even if the truth is hiding in a wild satire from the 90s that seems to be causing the violence, but is actually a disruptor shining light on that same truth. End Times culture is a mix of real and imagined, a place where reality is only lies, so the only way to see the truth is through the illusion. The darkness, the demon that Mickey speaks about is the culture. A pop culture that will always turn on itself, where everyone is disposable, and the only icons that remain are wealth and fame. Pop culture is the snake eating its own tail. Natural Born Killers is a broken looking glass that provides the lie, the transgression, the time bomb that illuminates the truth. A truth that it's our own culture that is violent and transgressive, and not the art and entertainment causing the decay. Natural Born Killers is just the messenger, and in that way, a dangerous film.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Mickey. Mickey who? Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mantle, Mickey Rourke, Mickey Finn, Mickey Dolenz, Mickey Knox. Guilty? You bet your ass. But I think Charlie Manson said it best when he said, I'm not here, man. I'm not here. I don't blame Mickey or Mallory. I blame Ajax and Jack Frost and Frosted Flakes and Achy Breaky, Lyndon Johnson, Johnny Cash, Johnny Carson, Johnny Quest. I blame the Pope and Pop-Tarts, the Popeil Pocket Fisherman. I blame Jiff and Jazz and O.J. Simpson, JFK, RFK, FDR, FBI, CIA, STP, AFL, CIO, ABC, NBC, JVC, VCR. I blame John Wilkes Booth and Mark David Chapman and Sirhan, and Mary Tyler Moore. I blame all people who use three names. Big Bird, guilty. Barney, guilty. I blame Jesus Christ and John Bon Jovi. I stick my right index finger in Wayne Newton's left eyeball. Not their parents, not drugs, not society at large. You know who I really blame? The Pittsburgh Pirates, because in 1947 Major League Baseball scouted a hot young pitching prospect named Fidel Castro. Hot out of Havana High, he had big speed and a nasty curveball, but at the last minute the teams all rescinded their offer. Just think about that. If Fidel had been drafted, No Bay of Pigs, no Kennedy assassination, no cover-up, no Vietnam, no Nixon, no Ford, no bell-bottoms, no Brady Bunch, no Earth Shoes, no Reagan, no crack. No, we'd all be eating hot dogs and apple pie and smoking big fat Cuban cigars. M-I-C, see you real soon. K-E-Y, why? Because they want to, that's why.